I'm streaming, baby. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream for the SFR GT Challenge. This is round two of the first season, and we're on the Suzuka circuit in Japan to witness some great action on the track. The drivers are currently qualifying to set up the grid for the 26 lap race. It's gonna start around 8:05 Eastern Time. There are about 14 minutes left in the qualifying session. So I'll take advantage of this time I have before the start of the race to go through the field and present every driver in Division 2 this season. Always feel free to leave a comment in the section down below in the chat. I will do everything I can to answer all the questions. So in Division 2 we have 5 different teams fighting for the team championship. Currently you are seeing Fams A. Mueller, one of the drivers representing Full Attack Motorsports, Fams. So one of the founding members of SFR, that's STR, Fams, and Rockefeller Racing. So hi everyone. By the way, I forgot to say who I am. I'm QRacer31, also known as basically everything you can put in front of or after the letter Q. So I'll let you choose the one you prefer. Oh. So now you're seeing STR Death Scythe, one of the drivers, one of the first members of Stronger Together Racing. So, CKMC Pure, Queso Q. I'm a cheesy Q. Well, I'll let you say that. So, STR Death Scythe is using a special livery, US Air Force. And here we have his teammate STR Cyberstro in the number 25 Chevy Corvette. Also using a US military theme car. And now we move on to our Magic Man, who's team captain at Rockefeller Racing. Number 78 Mercedes AMG GT3. He's been getting very strong lately. He's certainly hoping he can fight for the win tonight. He's certainly going to be on the podium at the end of the race if everything goes according to plan. He's been quick in practice. Also, having a US themed livery. So basically tonight I believe we will have a full grid. 15 drivers will start this event. And I would like to remind everyone, please use English while you're chatting, because we want to get the whole SFR community talking together. Yeah. So Some people are amazed to see me live stream an event. I guess it's been a while since I gave you a live stream. I hope you'll enjoy this one. The race, since it lasts about 26 laps, should last about 55 to 58 minutes. So that's going to be close to an endurance race. So I would say a hybrid between a sprint and an enduro. With the high degradation tires, we expect to have about 3 to 4 pit stops over the 26 lap period. The soft tires seem to be the tire of choice. So far, STR Death Scythe in the WRX has the fastest time in qualifying. Let's ride on board with him. Seems like he aborted his fastest lap, his flying lap, sorry. Okay. So this is one of the trickiest corners, 130R. You always try to take it flat out, but you have to slightly lift to avoid going wide on exit, as it can totally mess up your entry here in the final chicane, the Casio triangle. And you need to have a perfect entry and perfect exit to avoid losing speed on the straight. So here we have Rocky Rocco, who's a team boss, team manager at Rockefeller Racing, wishing all his drivers to have a great race. We're nearing the end of qualifying. Roughly 5 minutes left. Yes, the team boss is in the house. Always proud of seeing his drivers fighting for position at the front of the pack. So far, the Rockefeller Racing drivers, let me check. We have Magic Man in the top 5 in the Mercedes AMG. He's certainly hoping he can find just a little more speed in his car, as he's been bumped down to 6th place. Cyberstro is now moving up. And no, I'd have to remind our viewers that, and as we see STR Death Scythe pushing the car over the limit, trying to extract every last drop of performance from his car. We'll ride on board with STR Goof as he enters turn 1 and turn 2. So now that's the tricky part, the S's. Always have to keep your momentum going. You don't want to miss your marks and have to hit the brakes to avoid going wide and clipping the grass. That's one of the trickiest sections of the course. We will keep an eye on drivers throughout the race. Degner 1, Degner 2, now you're under the bridge. Heading to the hairpin. slowest corner on the track. And then a fast right-hander that will bring you straight to spoon curve, which is a double left-hander. The second corner has a tighter radius and goes downhill, and it's easy to lose the rear of the car and get on the curbs on the outside. Then it's an uphill section until you get to 130R, the fast left-hander. And straight to the final chicane. And downhill towards the finish line for what should be a good lap by STR Goof in the Lexus. He improved, but slightly, only a few thousandths behind his teammate. And he's gonna have probably a final flying lap, final chance to unseat STR Deathscythe from pole position. Let's ride on board with him. Is he going to improve his lap time? Seems like the Subaru is very fast on Suzuka. This is his chance to get his first victory in the SFR GT Challenge. So he does not improve on his lap time, but he's still in first position. So tonight you'll see quite a large variety of cars from Germany, from Japan, from Italy, from the United States of America. There you have a South Korean car, Hyundai Genesis, driven by STR Atlas, number 10. This is a new livery for this event, this round of the SFR GT Challenge. The Lexus RCF GT3, driven by Viper 9 Matt, who's a strong advocate for women in professional sports. So you see a tribute to Lindsey Vonn. So far, 1, 2, 3 seems to be held by STR, but I wouldn't count Fam's Hyper out of this, as he might just be in the pits getting new tires for a final run. But qualifying is gonna end in 1 minute. So it seems like STR will be locking the top 3 positions on the grid. We'll wait for confirmation in a few minutes as the stewards review all the qualifying laps and make sure they have all the correct qualifying times on the timing sheets. And the Cool G just took pole position. And it doesn't seem like STR Deathscythe is on a fast lap. Will he be able to get back in first place? It doesn't seem like he managed to improve his lap time. So from the data I have in the lobby, the Cool G has managed to put the Alfa Romeo 4C Group 3 race car in pole position. We will wait for confirmation as always, as we want to make sure the final qualifying times are all in. But now qualifying session is over. Drivers have the right to finish, to complete the flying lap they started before the 20-minute mark. And So we will have a driver interview. Let me double check something. I will be back in a minute as we are sorting the final qualifying times before setting the grid. So CKMC Pure saying we need more women in racing. There's an initiative that's been started, I believe, in the UK of an all-female racing series. I haven't been able to get information, the latest information on that project. Yes. So we have Kyle Patty, that's a Gnarlywall 90, who's a driver in Division 1, racing for Rockefeller Racing. Okay, I'll have to do something very quick. Just want to make sure everything is fine. Okay, I'll be back on the main screen. It seems like I'll have to cancel the pre-race interview. Unfortunately, the driver hasn't been able to make it in time. So sorry for... oh, well, seems like we have Jonathan here. It's fine. I was just saying that I was going to cancel the interview, but there you are. So, what are your expectations for tonight? Will be your first race in the SFR GT Challenge. You are now officially a driver for Full Attack Motorsports, FAMS. So how do you feel ahead of this race tonight? Oh, that's great. Uh, so, how do you feel about this whole situation with the tires? Have you been able to get in practice, or have you been running straight from work to your PS4? Oh, okay. Well, we won't hold you for much longer since the race is about to start. So have a great race. Maybe we'll talk again after the race on the podium. Oh, have a great race. So I'm getting told right now on YouTube that it seems like they were not able to hear Mr. Jonathan Bravo 23 during the interview. So now we are ready. I will just give a message saying to the host that we are ready. So the final preparations for the race are underway. We will have the start very shortly within the next 2 or 3 minutes. So make sure you stay in front of your phone, tablet, PC, because you don't want to miss the action. So the drivers are enjoying some free time, some air time to run some burnouts. There you go. So everyone is waiting for the start. This should start very shortly. We will get a warning message right before, a minute before the start is officially launched. So the 15 drivers are all ready. Probably going review. They're probably all thinking about their race strategy, hoping to have a great start. Final mental preparations, because you can have. Oh, there we go. The message saying we are starting soon has been given. So the normal procedure is we will get the start. You will see the grid. All the drivers will be on their grid spot. We will have a grid start. Everyone will have to be careful to avoid having a false start. That will penalize you by making you still on the grid for a few seconds. And so, there we go. 7, 6, 5. So the start is very close in about 20 seconds. So on pole position, the Cool G for Powerhouse Racing Team, alongside STR Death Scythe in the WRX for STR, and then Goof and Cyberstro for STR, Hyper and Atlas on the third row, Amuler and Magic Man in on the fourth row. Green, 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 let's go racing! Goof seems to have a great start. The two STR drivers are in first and second place. The Cool G dropped from pole position to third place. So now it's STR1, STR2, PHRT in third position. So far, we don't have any incidents so far. It's been a clean start. We'll stay with the leaders. It's very close. And the Cool G going wide in his Alfa Romeo. There seems... Nope. I thought there was an incident behind at the hairpin, but everyone's clean. It seems like there's a car on track. That's Boys Noise. So let's quickly go over the replay. Oh, there was an incident with FAM's Clay and the Clay and the FAM's driver, sorry. There was a Constantino effect and they all had a front rear collision. So this is an incident that will probably be under review at the end of the race. Let's go back with the leaders. It's still STR Death Scythe in first place, followed by STR Goof and the Lexus, the Cool G and the Alfa Romeo, Cyberstro in the Chevy Corvette, Amuler for FAMs in the Honda NSX, followed by STR Atlas in the Genesis. Hyper in the Porsche is down to 7th. Viper 9 Matt in the Lexus in 8th place. Magic Man in the Mercedes AMG is down in 9th place. Gale Speed in the BMW in 10th place. And it seems like we have a DNF. Boys Noise has retired from the race. Bravo is in 11th place. Tag just had an incident. Oh, we will go back to the replay. Seems like it's a there was no collision there. It was just a driver error. And another spin there for the Porsche driver. Yes, seems like Boys Noise was an innocent bystander there. Was just minding his own business, but there was an incident behind, and he basically acted as the wall in front that served as a brake to slow the other cars that were losing control. And there's STR Death Scythe losing control of his Subaru and hitting his teammate and getting hit by his other teammate. This is basically disaster right now for Death Scythe, who was leading the race, And now he has to wait for the whole field to go by before he can rejoin the track. So now Goof and A. Mueller managed to gain, I believe, 3 spots with this incident. He's now in 2nd place. We will go back and look at the replay for that incident. We will. So this side just basically went a little too wide at Spoon Curve, lost control, had nowhere to go, and then got hit by Cyberstro. There's probably heavy damage on the front end of the Corvette and on the rear end of the WRX. So that's a major incident already on lap 3, on lap 2 actually, of this 26 lap race on Suzuka. So now Goof has the lead, followed by the Canadian driver A. Mueller in the Honda NSX. So he's the driver who gained the most from that series of incidents. Yes, Suzuka is the kind of track that's totally unforgiving. Just a slight mistake at Spoon Curve can be the end of your race, basically. Well, now he has 24 laps to recover, but now he lost about 20, if not 25, 30 seconds with that spin. If you also add on the time he's going to lose while the car is being fixed. So now the Cool G overtaking A. Mueller for 2nd place. So now the Alfa Romeo driver is up, and now A. Mueller has a spin, and he's now down in 6th place. So all the spots he gained have just been lost with that spin. We'll go back to see this replay, but we'll wait as this is not over. Cyberstro overtaking on the inside of 130R decides to lift. That was a really risky overtake, and now Hyper hitting Cyberstro. We'll go back to the battle for 7th. Don't worry, I saved the replay, so we'll be able to go back and see the spin that pushed A. Mueller down to 6th place. But there's some incredible action on the track right now. I believe it's safe to assume we can go back right now to the replay. 6. Okay, there it is. So basically he went way too wide on the exit of Spoon Curve, and that threw his car to the left, and he couldn't recover from the loss of control, and he hit the outside wall. So we'll go back to the live action. We'll quickly go through the field. Goof is still leading in the Lexus. Seems like he managed to create a decent gap over 2nd place, the Cool G and the Alfa Romeo. So the Cool G for PHRT holding on to 2nd place. STR Atlas, so the Hyundai driver gained about 3 spots since the start of the race. He's now in 3rd place, followed by Viper 9 Matt in the Lexus, who, if I recall correctly, started in 8th or 9th place on the grid, so up 5 spots since the start, and we've only had 4 laps. So there's plenty of action to come in the next 22 laps, including a series of pit stops and strategy calls. But now the battle for 5th place is raging. A. Mueller in 5th place in front of Cyberstro, but it seems like we have lost. I believe Magic Man dropped from 5th place to, let's try to find him. I'm sorry, seems like we've missed an incident there. Oh, he's now down in 10th place. So there's Magic Man. And now unfortunately, the TV cameras missed the incident that pushed Magic Man down from 5th to 10th place, as we have our first pit stop. The early race leader, SCR Death Scythe, in the pits. And now, there's been more action. The Cool G is now down in 3rd place, fighting with Viper 9 Matt, trying to hold him off. As you get to 5th lap, the soft tires are quickly falling off the cliff, so you're losing lots of grip, lots of traction. It's easy to spin the car, especially on Suzuka, which is a very tricky circuit with technical corners. There's no real time to rest, and so the combined effect of the driver fatigue and the tire wear can be an explosive cocktail that can lead to major errors and incidents, as we've seen already in the less than 5 laps. So we should expect to see the first pit stops by the lead cars. So Goof is staying, as STR Atlas went wide of the chicane, and he's now about to lose 3rd place to Viper 9 Matt in the Lexus. That's an amazing performance by the Canadian driver from Quebec. Up 5 spots already after 5 laps. So Suzuka seems like it's been I should say eating a lot of its drivers. It's a race for survival right now. And now they're the battle for 5th place seems to have settled down a bit. And SCR Death Scythe, after his pit stop, is now in 9th place. So we have only 2 drivers who have done their first pit stop. As we're now going to ride on board with let me do this with STR Goof, the race leader, in the number 82 STR Lexus. Yes, and so we have Kyle in the comments saying Goof speed out front just being consistent. So it seems like the hundreds of Goof laps are paying off. Keeping calm and consistent. Lap 6, we should start seeing the top 3 in the pits. And yes, STR Goof is entering the pits for his first pit stop. So he had started the race on soft tires, but it seems like the Cool G is staying on track. He's going for the long run. Did he pick a different compound? Hyper is also staying on track, and Goof exits the pits in 2nd place, so he will not have any traffic to deal with on his outlap. Hyper, who stayed on the track, is in 3rd place, but he still has to pit for the first time. Viper 9 Matt in 4th place, so technically in 3rd place, so he's still in contention for the podium. Atlas down in 5th, Amuler, Death Scythe, so he has managed to rejoin in 7th place after his massive crash and his pit stop. Magic Man is right behind him. His teammate Gale Speed and the Rockefeller Racing BMW in 9th, Cyberstro down in 10th, but still a few drivers have to do their first pit stop. So let's ride on board with the Cool G, who's currently enjoying clean air in first place ahead of his first pit stop. So drivers are allowed to use racing softs, racing mediums, or racing hards during these events. Yeah, let me... So, I've been asked about the lap times. Just give me a second. So it's been a quite a crazy start. So you will see lap times that are way off the qualifying pace as the Cool G enters the pits. So we'll follow him. He was on medium tires, so that might explain why he managed to run one extra lap. But in qualifying, the laps were down in the 59s. So now Goof is back in the lead. We'll see, since Goof has enjoyed the most clean air, his fastest lap. I see a 157.7, but I doubt that's his actual fastest lap. It's probably his out lap. As the Cool G rejoins in second, ahead of Viper 9 Matt. Atlas is still in fourth, and Death Scythe is now in fifth. So he has managed to gain 2 spots. That's Hyper pitting and an overtake on Amulet. Let's see if we can catch this overtake. Oh, that happened at turn 1 and some rubbing, but it was clean. It was a clean overtake, no one forcing any driver off. So great job by the STR driver. And now the battle between Magic Man in the AMG and Amuler in the Honda is raging on, as it seems like Magic Man has been struggling a little since the start of the race. Going wide at the exit of Degner 2. So they're entering Spoon Curve. That's where STR Death Scythe had his massive shunt early in the race. He's clearly staying clear of the green concrete. He doesn't want to get into another spin. It was an unforced error early on, and Magic Man going wide. And Amuler looking towards the inside, but there was no room there. Was too far behind Death Scythe to pull an overtake. And now we have Joshua Big Red U of A watching the stream. Welcome. Yes, that's a great job from Death Scythe and Magic Man, recovering from their early mistakes, early issues. But there's still no change at the front. Still STR Goof leading in a Lexus, 6.4 seconds over the Cool G and the Alfa Romeo. He just ran a 2-minute flat, so that's a decent pace. With the fuel tank about 75% full right now. The Cool G in the Lexus. I apologize. He was in the Lexus, but he's now in the Alfa Romeo 4C Group 3 race car in second place for PHRT. Viper 9 Matt in the Lexus in third place, 5.6 seconds behind the Cool G and 5 seconds ahead of the STR driver, STR Atlas and the Hyundai Genesis. Death Scythe is still fighting with Amuler, so the battle for 5th place is still going on. We will keep an eye on them. It seems like the Subaru is a little loose at Spoon Curve, and that's what caused him to have a crash early on. And now Magic Man having a massive run on Fam's Amuler. And Amuler trying to look for the inside, but there's no room there. Will it compromise his exit? And he's going wide. And now down to 7th place as Magic Man gains a spot over the FAM's driver. So now you have an STR, RR, and FAM's battle as STR Death Scythe out of sequence pits again from 5th place for 2nd pit stop. And Gale Speed has a run on A. Mueller, and he's now up to 6th place, but goes a little wide, and A. Mueller manages to get back in 6th place. Unfortunately, we were unable to see what happened with Magic Man early on in the race, so I'm unable to show you the replay from the incident. But we'll go through the field as Hyper is now in 8th place for FAMS in the Porsche. Cyberstro now down to 9th place after the issues. He got involved in a spin in the crash with Death Scythe. Bravo, the new driver for FAMS in the Corvette, in 10th place. Death Scythe just pitted and he's now down in 11th. Clay in 12th place for FAMS and the Honda NSX. Seems to have had an incident. I believe he was involved with Boys Noise at the start of the race. Then El Diablo for Rockefeller Racing and the BMW in 13th place, and FAMS Tag in last place for FAMS in the Porsche. So the Cool G is slowly reeling in STR Goof. The gap is now down to 3.5 seconds. Remember, it was around 6.5 seconds after the first pit stop. The Cool G was on medium tires for the first stint, and he's now, I believe, on soft tires, based on the information we got when he exited the pits. And Magic Man is in the pits. Gale Speed is also in the pits, so the Rockefeller Racing drivers seem to be mirroring their strategy. And Magic Man will rejoin right behind STR Death Scythe. So he has not been able to overtake him in the pits. And Bravo is now under pressure from STR Death Scythe. Bravo on worn tires and Death Scythe on fresh rubber. And now there is a lot of pressure on STR Death Scythe as he has to overtake Bravo, who's on worn tires, if he doesn't want to get overtaken by Magic Man. We will keep an eye on the leader as the pit window is open for him. And now Death Scythe goes wide and risks losing another spot. He's still in 8th place, so he had a great launch off the hairpin, probably due to his fresher rubber compared to Bravo 23 in the Corvette. And now Magic Man is eyeing 9th place, trying to find the gap to overtake the FAMS driver. Plenty of action on the track. And now Bravo going wide, keeping control in. Almost lost control of his Corvette, but he's now down in 10th place. As we have a pit stop, Cyberstro is in for STR. Bravo is also in, so he was at the end of the life of his soft tires. But now, look at this gap. The Cool G is only 1.2 seconds behind STR Goof in the Lexus. So that's about 10 seconds. No, let me say that again. 5 seconds gained during the second stint. That's great performance from the Alfa Romeo driver, as we are already catching lap traffic. Great job by El Diablo not to interfere with the leaders. And now that's Famstag yielding to the leaders, going very wide to avoid interfering with their battle. But now the Cool G is right on Goof's bumper. And will they go side by side at 130R? Goof decides to yield. Will he try to overtake on the inside? No, he decides to stay right behind the Cool G. And they both enter the pits, so they're on the same strategy right now. So the top two in the pits, we will have to keep an eye on them to see where they exit. And Viper is also in the pits. So the top three opted for the same, the pit on the same lap. And the Cool G will be first out of the pits. Seems like that pit exit will be under review by the stewards after the race. You are not to cross the white line at the exit of the pits. STR Goof down in second place for now. And oh, okay, that's a lapped car. So Atlas hasn't made his second pit stop yet. Neither has A Mueller and Hyper. So Viper 9 Matt, who was third on track before his pit stop, is down in sixth place. But he's already the drivers in seventh and eighth position are already catching him, recovering from mistakes early in the race. Still single file. They haven't been fighting so far. Magic Man still behind Death Scythe. Yes, Kyle. I believe the Cool G got 4 pit violations in Fuji, and he's now on his way to at least 1. So, after the race, there is a review by the stewards, and the results are not finalized until Monday 11 p.m. Eastern Time, to give SFR GT officials plenty of time to review incidents that have been reported by drivers and pit entry and exit violations, if there are any. So Atlas is still staying on the track ahead of Mueller, Hyper, and now Viper 9 Matt lost 3 seconds over STR Death Scythe, as there's a driver in the pits, but probably a lapped car back. Yep, that was Famstag exiting the pits. And now the battle for 5th place between Hyper, Viper 9 Matt, and Viper trying to find room on the outside, but that's a very risky move. We've seen some overtakes go really bad in a previous league I won't name, at that exact spot on the track. And now Viper holding the inside, giving plenty of room to Hyper, and he's now up in 5th place. Hyper's really struggling with his tires right now, going wide and hitting the wall. Oh, and Death Scythe just avoids him, and that's gonna give a run to Gale Speed entering the hairpin, and he manages to get on the inside, but will he be able to maintain this at the exit? And now seems like Death Scythe is still holding on to 6th place by virtually a few inches. And Gale Speed, they're cutting the grass that's not where you'll find grip on this track. So this side already up, and oh no, there it goes again. Another mistake at the same spot on this track by the STR driver and the WRX. It seems like the spoon curve is the weakest spot for the Subaru. Very loose on exit. We'll go back and look at the replay. Maybe we can add some telemetry. We will replay this again with more data from the car. So tires are quite worn, but he goes wide on the green concrete, and that sends this car loose towards the wall. Manages to save it, but then sends it in the styrofoam blocks on the outside. So all that great work to recover from the early crash is all this started all over again. And now back to the front. The Cool G is still leading. I will add the gaps again. There you go. Only 1 second is separating the Cool G and Goof. So there doesn't seem to be a favorite right now. They're both very fast on Suzuka. Goof in the Lexus. Then we go down to the battle for third place. Atlas, A. Mueller, and Viper 9 Matt. And they're coming up on RRL Diablo, who's a lap down. Let's hope the blue flags are shown promptly to avoid having a pileup as El Diablo tries to yield the track position to the lead lap cars. And now Viper 9 Matt looking to overtake on the inside, but that's a really risky move as Atlas has just gone wide and almost knocked Viper 9 Matt off the track. Still trying to... Whoop. That's not the key I was looking to press. And they're both pitting. So A. Mueller and Atlas were both on medium tires, so that's why they managed to stretch their second stint. So now Viper 9 Matt is back in third place, followed by Gelspeed, Cyberstro. And now we'll have a bunch of drivers exiting the pits at the same time. Will be very interesting to see who comes out first. A. Mueller in 6th place, followed by Atlas in the Genesis, Hyper, Magic Man, then Bravo. Death Scythe is exiting the pits, but he'll probably be overtaken by... No, he's gonna hold on to 11th place as Clay in 12th place is in the second sector right now. We will go back and look at what happened in the battle for third place. There you go. I will have to go back there. So Atlas went wide, way too fast on entry, and then almost knocked Viper 9 Matt off the track. We'll play that one again. Looking from the Hyundai driver. So goes wide, tries to save the car, but comes back, but almost moves into the path of Viper 9 Matt, but thankfully just realized at the last second that the Lexus was going way too fast on the outside to get back on the racing line, and then went in the pits for his second pit stop. So we're now back live, and the gap between first and second is still 1.8 seconds. The Cool G and the Alfa Romeo for PHRT still leading ahead of Goof, who just went wide at the exit of turn 1. And Gale Speed and the BMW shining tonight in third place. And is he trying to enter the pits? Yes, and he narrowly avoids the tires. That would have been a disaster. So Viper 9 Mat reclaims third place now, ahead of A. Mueller and the Honda NSX. I believe if I go back, I should be able to see pit entry by Gale Speed. That was a narrow miss. No, unfortunately, it's a little too late in the replay. But that was probably less than 1 inch separating him from the tire wall on the outside. Yes, as Kyle said, Gelson almost killed the tires at the pit entry, but now the gap between first and second is up to 6 seconds after the mistake by STR Goof going wide at the exit of turn 1. We will go back to the battle for, I believe that's 8th place. STR drivers closing up as that's what I was looking for. Bravo and Def Scythe fighting for 10th place, so Def Scythe is still trying to recover from his incidents. We will go to STR Goof in 2nd place, who's now entered the pits. Now there's a risk that he might be slowed down by traffic, but nope. There's a car that's not on the lead lap right ahead of him, but with the blue flags, that situation should sort itself out. I'm still learning my keyboard skills, so bear with me. STR Def Scythe now ahead of Bravo 23. So the STR driver managed to overtake the FAM's racer. We will go with the driver in 2nd place. So that's not a battle for position. That there seemed to have been an incident there. The Cool G is... Oh no, that's because STR Goof has just entered the pits. I had looked at the gaps and was surprised to see a 19.4 second gap. But that's totally reasonable, as he ran a 2:23 because he just entered the pits to get fresh rubber. I'd like to remind our viewers, drivers need not worry about fuel consumption in these events. They get a full tank of fuel at the start, and they have plenty of fuel to cross the finish line. It's all about tires and track position in SFR GT Challenge this season. So let's follow Goof. He will be right there when the Cool G exits the pits. Let's see if the gap gets narrower. It has increased slightly, or no, seems to have been relatively unchanged. It was around 5 seconds before Goof entered the pits, and it's now down to 4 seconds, so that's not a significant change there. As we have Viper 9 Mat, who was sitting in 3rd, to keep an eye on him to see where he will come back on the track. He will come out right, based on the information I get from the STR pit crew. They have fitted medium tires on Atlas's car during his last pit stop. So this is the closest battle on track. Now that's really difficult to judge the gaps in the braking zone, because worn mediums have much less grip and require you to stop way earlier than a Lexus on fresh soft tires. So I've been asked to get some information on Magic Man. He's currently in 5th place. He's recovering from his early spin. Unfortunately, the TV cameras have missed the incident. But now he's looking strong, trying to overtake Hyper for 4th place. But he has to be very careful as his teammate in the BMW is right behind him, looking for a chance to advance his position. It's been a very strong performance from the driver from the Dominican Republic, Gillespie. And now Magic Man manages to capture 4th position away from Hyper, and Gillespie, as we just talked about his amazing race, has just found the gravel trap at turn 2 and slightly kissed the tire wall. Lost a spot to STR Cyberstro. We will ride on board with him and see what happened there. Just went too wide at turn 2, and there's really no way to avoid this. The corner is slightly banked, and you get thrown towards the sand trap on the outside. So Hyper has managed to get back in 4th place. But he's under threat from our Magic Man, Rockefeller Racing Team Captain, and Cyberstro for STR is right there alongside them, and there's a mistake from Hyper going wide at Spoon Curve, and he's down to 6th place. Going side by side along the back straight right before 130R with Cyberstro. Who's gonna yield? No one yields, and Hyper goes wide. They are not going to yield, and there an incident. Unfortunately for the FAMS driver, we will have to take a look at this once again. So yes, FAMS Hyper going a little too wide, and then misses his marks, overshoots the entry of the chicane and finds the tire wall. And he managed to avoid causing a collision, but now he has to cut across the track to get in the pits, so that made him lose even more time. And he's now down in 10th place after his pit stop. As we're taking a look at the Cool G, who's now increased his lead to 6.2 seconds over STR Goof. So now we're entering the final, the pit window for the final pit stop for our 14 drivers, as we have had one DNF early on in the race. We will keep an eye on the action in the pits. So the Cool G has opted to stay on the track. As did STR Goof. And FAMS A. Mueller running an amazing race up in 3rd place. And that's his real position. Everyone ahead of him and behind him has to do one final pit stop. So he's not out of sequence. And he's opting to pit right now for his final tire change. This will move up Cyberstro. Well, he's also entering the pits. As does DevScythe, Atlas, virtually everyone but Gillespie and Magic Man. And so A. Mueller exits the pits in third place ahead of Viper 9 Matt, who was his main challenger for third place in this event, with only 4 laps to go, a little over 4 laps to go. Now if Viper 9 Matt wants to get in third place, he has to overtake Abular on the track. And let me bring up the gaps again. But Abular will have fresher tires for the final stint. As now there's a battle between the Rockefeller Racing drivers. I'm sure their team manager, Rocky Rocco, is watching them right now on the stream. The BMW driver in 5th place, followed by his teammate in the Mercedes AMG GT3 in 6th. And he goes slightly wide, and this opens the door to Magic Man, who's not gonna let this opportunity to overtake his teammate go by. And it seems like Gale Speed has gone wide, and he's about... Whoa, that seems like a lag related issue more than anything else. Yes, that's most likely a lag issue. And unfortunately, Gale Speed, after an amazing race, has been disconnected from the lobby. That's part of sim racing, unfortunately. Drivers are at the mercy of network issues. So we'll go through the field once again. The Cool G is still leading the race. Hasn't done his final pit stop as far as the pit data is showing us. Will he try to cross the finish line with his current set of tires? He has 23 seconds over second place with a little over 3 laps to go. So it's really a race against himself. If he can make his set of tires last until the finish line, he might be able to get a win by a big margin. As right now, Viper 9 Matt almost throwing his first position away. That will allow Magic Man to catch up to him. So that's a battle we'll have to keep an eye on. Viper 9 Matt is on worn tires, as Magic Man is pitted after him. I believe he's on fresher tires. So will Magic Man try the overtake on the inside of 130R? That's a really risky move. But Viper 9 Matt is known for his great sportsmanship. Yes, and he doesn't insist, and safely lets Magic Man take 4th place. Will he try to get in the pits to have a fresh set of tires for the end of the race, or will he try to make it last? Stays on the track, and he now has Cyberstro right behind him, looking for a top 5 finish. So the battle for 4th place is where the action is at on the track right now. Magic Man seems to be holding on to 4th place, but Cyberstro is challenging Viper 9 Matt for 5th place. Viper 9 Matt really out. Other than the top 3 drivers, is the driver of the race. He's been running a mistake-free race. We just saw him go slightly wide at the exit of Deckner 2, but that's a minor mistake. He has kept his nose clean the whole race, as others did not manage to do the same. And yes, it seems like the Cool G will stretch his stint to the final, for the final 2 laps. He's entering the S's for the penultimate, on the penultimate lap. Lap 25 of 26. And as things are currently, we would have a PHRT driver winning the race, STR in second place for Goof, and a podium for Anthony A. Mueller in the FAM's Honda NSX on Honda's main home track, Suzuka. I'm sure everyone at Honda will be celebrating. He just has to keep the car on the track for 2 more laps. He has 6.6 seconds over Magic Man in the Mercedes AMG GT3. So that's basically he's virtually locked into in 3rd place. He just has to pace himself. I'm sure his team leader is giving him advice on the radio. That will be an amazing result for the team. And so the battle for 5th place is still going on between Viper 9 Matt and Cyberstro. The Lexus seems to be struggling there under as he puts the power down out of Deckner 2. Will Cyberstro try to dive on the inside of the hairpin? Nope. Will he try to do the over-under? Nope. He will then try to get the inside of Viper 9 Matt. And he makes it stick. Will Viper try to take it back? Nope. And Cyberstro goes wide at Spoon Curve and unfortunately sends his car in a gravel trap. So that's an unforced error that will cost him at least 3 spots, as Death Scythe is still on the charge. Clips the grass but saves it. And now at the chicane, goes slightly wide offline. But will he have a good run? Yes, out of the final corner. And they're coming up on the back marker. That's a tricky situation. And they managed to get by the Rockefeller Racing driver, as we're already on the final lap. And yep, we will go back to the leader, who's entering Spoon Curve for the final time. We'll still keep an eye on the battle for 5th place. Death Scythe hasn't said his final word. He's still gonna try to get 5th place from the Quebec driver. And now the Cool G, the leader and the soon-to-be race winner, is entering the chicane for the final time. He had won the test event, but he's now going to win here in Suzuka. And so the Cool G for PHRT wins the race in the Alfa Romeo ahead of STR Goof and the Lexus. So Goof, after a win in Fuji, will claim 2nd place. So that's a 2nd podium for the STR driver. And now Fam's A. Mueller. Just keep it on the track. Don't celebrate too early. But it still has 12 seconds over 4th place. So it seems like Magic Man has lost a lot of ground on the Honda driver. And so A. Mueller already celebrating on his home track for Honda. And there it is, third place for A. Mueller. And now Death Scythe suddenly managed to catch Magic Man and has Viper right behind him. What's going on there? Fourth, fifth, and sixth. And so Magic Man in fourth place, Death Scythe in sixth place. We will save that replay if we have time to look at it before the end of the race. I doubt it. But Hyper in seventh place, Cyberstro in eighth, Atlas in ninth place for STR. Bravo for his first race in the SFR GT Challenge for Full Attack Motorsports. Will claim the final position in the top 10 and the last car on the lead lap. So there you have it, the final results. So everyone on YouTube, I'm sure you've enjoyed the race. That was amazing. Plenty of action throughout the 26 lap race. I will make sure to save the replay. We will now hear the podium finishers for brief interviews, and I will pick a fourth driver of my choice for a special interview. So I will just make sure I tag all of them. So Goof, A. Mueller, and let's invite Viper 9 Matt. Unless you want to hear someone, let's go with Viper. It's been a great race for him. So I will send the invites. So you will get a blue screen for a few seconds. I will show you. Hi, Viper.
Hey,
That was an amazing race from you.
I mean, yeah, it was a good race. I mean, the guys and gals at the shop gave us a good car. I would just wish I could have taken a bit higher. I mean, got a lap car that hit me sideways half of the race, so that kind of screwed me over badly. But so we did okay in the end.
Yes, you kept it clean the whole race. That was a great performance.
Yeah, I
So
just wish the 99 Lexus had a bit more into it, but we'll be back in 2 weeks and go for more, I guess.
yes. So as we are waiting for the race winner, the Cool G, to get in the party for the interview, uh, I wanted to ask you one question, Viper.
Yeah.
So tell us a little more about your livery. I think,
Well, this was
yeah,
a special. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, this was a special tribute card to Lindsey Vonn. I mean, she's had an all-time great ski career. You can call her the GOAT. You can. So I just want to pay respect. I started skiing because of her, so I just want to hopefully grab some of her speed and take that to victory lane. We can ended up being a bit short, but we still got six out of it, so I'm okay with it.
yeah, well, that was a great race from you, and thank you very much for the interview. I believe we now have the race winner, the Cool G, in the party. Are you there? So that was a great race from you. So you ran a much longer stint at the end of the race. I believe you started on medium tires. So tell us a little more about your great strategy. I believe you pitted one less time than STR Goof in second place. Yeah, well, it seemed to have paid off at the end. After his pit stop, Goof was about 20 seconds behind you, so you had a 20-second gap to play with, and you did a great job to keep it on the track. So after a a great performance in Fuji, and now a victory in Suzuka. You're now a major contender for the title in the division. So, what's your expectation moving forward to Bathurst? Oh, okay. So, if you don't mind, Lukuji, what we'll do is, can you get in your audio settings and make sure you're sharing your audio? What we'll do is I will give you a final word at after the interview with the second and third place finishers, so the viewers on YouTube can hear you. So I'll now move on to STR Goof in second place. That was a great race from you. Seems like you capitalize on the errors from the other drivers who were ahead of you. Uh, Virtually error-free race. Just one slight mistake in the first sector during the race, but that was a great performance from you. So tell us a little more about your race.
It was it was different. It was a little hairy from start to finish, but I was pushing a little too hard, and also the Lexus tires were going away, and I knew the 4C had better tires, but I stuck to my strategy and just ran my race really. And the opening laps were a little rough. They really were. But after everyone got settled and all the shuffling got done, just started focusing on what I was doing and hit my marks and everything like I always do. But overall, it was a good race and clean. And congratulations to these guys.
It seems like the goof laps keep paying off. So how many laps have you run this time?
This go around for this practice was about 526 laps.
526 laps. That's
Yes.
a rough calculation. That's what 20 race
Roughly,
distances.
yeah.
That's true dedication from you. Uh, so now, what are your expectations ahead of Bathurst? Are you looking forward to taming Mount Panorama?
I am. I've grown to like the track, and I'm pretty strong there. So we'll see how it goes, and
Yeah.
I just hope everybody's clean.
And your little brother is saying, "Big bro, I'm a fan of you." So, Rodrigo, amazed by your performance tonight. Great job. After a win in Fuji, you're now second place on Suzuka. That's gonna be close in the championship. So, great race, Goof.
Thank you.
And do we have our third place finisher, the great A. Mueller for FAMS and the Honda NSX on his home track in Japan?
Yes, I'm here.
Well, that was amazing. You kept it clean, no mistakes. I haven't seen any mistakes from you. You kept the NSX running at 110% the whole race. Tell us a little more about how you feel about
No,
that.
I had one
Your
mistake. I had
oh,
one little mistake with I think it was Viper. We got alongside each other in the in the
oh
spoon corner,
yes, yes.
and that's what like kind of ruined my race. And right there, I was down, and I went back to sixth position after all that hard work. And Dan on the radio just said, "Keep your head up and let it slide, and just keep to the strategy and keep on going." And that's basically what I did. And I knew that the NSX on the soft compounds couldn't do more than 5 laps after all the work we did. So we knew we had no choice to run a medium compound, and that paid off perfectly. I got into a good battle with Atlas,
Yes.
which made my medium stance stick out a bit longer, and it built out a good gap because I was using his slipstreams on the straightaways where the NSX was down. So that's what played part. And I'm happy to finish on the podiums.
Yeah.
And I would like to say thank you to my team for giving me the confidence in the radio because when my head was down, they brought me back up.
Yes, and as we say here, never give up and stay strong.
No,
So
yeah.
that's a great race from you. I'm sure everyone at Honda is celebrating in the paddock
Well,
area.
just to add on, it's been a great weekend for the NSX. If you were watching the Blancpain World Challenge, it had a podium and a pole position. So we'll just add to the good weekend for Honda this weekend.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Uh, do we still have the cool G in here?
Yes.
Yeah, have you managed to share your audio? Let's ask the viewers. Can you hear him?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, so you're and now I have forgot my question. So, with your we'll start that again. So, with your question, with your strategy, you managed to. Okay, so let's forget the question. I'm gonna give you the final words. The Cool G, tell us about your race.
It was great. The incident with Death Site,
Yes,
um,
on
it
lap
was,
2, yeah.
yeah, it was completely unavoidable for me. I completely didn't mean that.
Well, that will be under review, obviously, but that's something that can happen when all the drivers are so closely matched on a tight and twisty track like Suzuka. So, as always, all the results will be finalized by tomorrow, 11 p.m. So, I want to thank you guys for giving this interview, and I will now let you chat with your teammates and your pit crew. And
All right.
this also concludes the live broadcast for the SFR GT Challenge, round two of Division Two on the Suzuka circuit. I want to thank everyone who watched the stream. Make sure you share and give us a like so all your friends and family can see the broadcast. And as always, we'll see you in Bathurst. My friend Josh will be back to stream Division 1 there. So I had to step in at the last moment for him, and I'm glad you enjoyed the broadcast. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.